And we can use both specific and open imagery. Specific imagery uses tools like visualization, image books, vision boards, mental rehearsal, practicing in our minds, mental programming like affirmations, and intentions. And then, we use all those things to focus our attention on what we know or are aware of that we want, what we desire. And then we can also use open imagery, which is when we open up to divine mind, when we let go of our specifics and maybe just feel the essence of something that we want and allow God energy, divine energy, to flow through us to bring us those things like out of the blue stuff, or intuition flashes, or inspiration, or hunches. And they just come to us. And all we have to do is be in a state of allowing to receive whatever comes in. Easy, huh? Simple. It's simple. You can say that. But in Stretton Smith's book, The 4 T's to Prosperity, tithing our time, our talent, and our treasure, he talks about we're not here to set things right. Don't we often want to set things right? Especially in the world today, we want to set things right, don't we? But we're here to see things right. We're here to see things right. We're here to use that wonderful gift and power of imagination to see things right. So then they can be brought into form. And if we don't like the conditions we're experiencing or attracting, what we want to do is change the images, change the thoughts in our mind, or change the way we're seeing the conditions. Because if we can change the way we see the conditions can change. And we come into this lifetime born little children with the power of imagination. We don't have to teach our little kids to use their imagination. They just do it, don't they? They just do it. And to see imagination in its purest form, all we have to do is watch the little kids play. That's all we have to do. They talk to their imaginary friends, they draw pictures, they dress up in costumes, they can build Lego creations without following any specific instructions, They can do all kinds of things just through their play. And they reveal their rich and their free-flowing creativity through pretend and make-believe. And what if we looked at pretend like before, tend to our attention on. So pretending, we're putting our attention on something in the invisible before it comes into reality. And make-believe is that we're using our imagination to believe in something that's not yet real. Not yet real. Yet is the key word there. I love Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers said, children's play is not just kid stuff. Children's play is rather the stuff of most future inventions. Think how many people played about going to the moon before that was ever a reality. Let your imagination help you know the truth about your identity. Let your imagination help you know the truth about your identity, who you really are. Mr. Rogers also said, play is the real work of childhood. Grown-ups are often puzzled by children's play because we don't fully understand. But a child needs the freedom to play what we don't always understand. Some toys make children conform to them. They are not objects that children can make conform to their own fantasies and feelings. The time spent making those toys work means less time spent in the kind of play young children need most, play of their own invention. Play of their own invention. There's a big difference between toys that we can adapt to our own inner needs and toys that make us adapt to them. And I got to thinking about that with my little great-grandson who's 2 and some of the toys he's got. And I remember he has this box of these little rubber things that are in shapes, hearts, and triangles and squares and everything that he's supposed to try to fit. He had no interest in, he wanted to build stuff with it and dump them out and throw them, and everything. And he'll learn all those shapes eventually, but he wanted to do it his way, using his imagination. So I thought about that and looked at all the different toys that really, they want to teach kids things, but they want to teach things what we think is important for them to learn, right? Yeah. So I would say our education system is long overdue for an overhaul, a makeover, a redo. But most of it's designed to put into people knowledge that someone else has learned, and have you learn that and memorize it and spit it back out on a test, instead of allowing them to let their own imagination and creative thoughts and everything produce new things and new solutions, new ways of being as we are continually changing. So how many of you remember being encouraged to be innovative or creative in grades K through 12? I don't remember much of that. Or if you went to college, did you take Imagination 101, 102 or anything? No, never did any of that. No. So what has happened to the natural power, creative imaginations of kids over time? Over time, when they lose some of that, they start formal education and they quickly find out that they've got to conform to big people's rules, to acceptable behavior, acceptable standards, be appropriate, right? Because a lot of adults, teachers, parents, caregivers kind of think that if you let imagination be unbridled, that it's going to be unmanageable and there are going to be behavior problems and it's going to cause all kinds of problems. So kids they put a kind of lid on that kind of thing and maybe let it peek out at structured playtimes, which there are less and less of, I think. And if they let it come out at all, they put a lid on it, kind of put a lid on it. Children are told what? Sit still and be quiet. Yeah. Sit still and be quiet. When their bodies want to move, they need to move. Little kids are always moving. You can feel that and hear that back there, and that's wonderful. Kids want to move, and they learn better when they move. But we say sit still and be quiet. And I can remember my middle grandson in elementary school, he got in trouble and a bad mark on his behavior part in the report card for speaking out of turn. Because he'd get so excited to share, the teacher would ask a question, he'd want to answer it, but he'd forget that you have to ask permission first to do that, and he'd get in trouble. I thought, oh, wow. And some adults might say, that's only your imagination, in a kind of put-down way that makes the kid maybe feel silly or stupid for even thinking of that. Has that happened to any of you? Yeah, that's only your imagination. Silly. And do you have a big brother or big sister or parent or teacher that color in the line, stop that scribbling? Yeah. Rules, boundaries, restrictions, right? Put the lid on. Or maybe some adult said, stop daydreaming, pay attention. Well, what they want us to pay attention to was their rules, right? Pay attention to what they wanted us to do and say, not what we were feeling. But when you were a kid daydreaming, weren't you thinking about something that you loved, that felt good, that was exciting, that you wanted to happen? And when you did that, you were raising your vibration, and when you raise your vibration, what happens? You're healthier, you're smarter, you're happier, you're more prosperous, you're more successful, all of that. And you let that flow free. And so to reactivate your positive, creative, powerful imagination, allow yourself to slow down, allow yourself to relax, maybe go sit in the grass with your bare feet, take a walk in the woods, take a walk at the beach, just chill a little. And let yourself rediscover that kid within that wants to come out and play. Let him or her come out and play. In Matthew chapter 18, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become as a little child, you won't enter the kingdom of heaven. So what's this kingdom of heaven? What is entering the kingdom of heaven? And in the Revealing Word, Charles Fillmore says the kingdom of heaven is the realm of divine ideas. Now that's infinite. The realm of divine ideas within us that produce their expression, perfect harmony. So that's infinite. It's within us. We have access to that power, to that rich resource all the time. The infinite field of imagination is always present, always right here, just waiting for us to return to play. Return to play. And through our own imagination, we have the power to create and experience our own bright, colorful, feel-good world, and to affect that in the world around us. Look at what J.K. Rowling did with her imagination. Do you know how many Harry Potter books she wrote? I don't remember. So many, I guess. And I'm sure she doesn't remember all the prosperity that she's attracted through her imagination with that. She said, imagination is not only the uniquely human capacity to envision that which is not, and therefore the foundation of all invention and innovation. In its most transformative and revelatory capacity, it is the power that enables us to empathize with humans whose experiences we have never shared. I never thought of imagination giving us the power for empathy, because I'm so focused on empathy now with the nonviolent communication work with teens. But I can see, yes, we can imagine ourselves in another person's shoes to help us better understand that other person's feelings and that other person's needs. And that's what we do with these teens in there. We know, we don't know how another person feels, but we kind of guess. We kind of use our imagination, our intuition to see, and we say that to that other person. Well, you might be, I imagine you might be feeling a so-and-so way, you know, and then they'll say yes or no, or they might help us better understand how they're feeling. So, using your imagination. And when we're doing that, when we're wanting to understand others more instead of criticize and judge and complain, you know what we are? We're a contributor to world peace. We're a contributor to world peace. And so I think nonviolent communication might better be referred to as peaceful, harmonious, compassionate communication, because that's what it really is. It teaches us to be. And our power of imagination opens us up to the field of all possibilities, to infinite possibilities. In his book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill defines creative imagination this way. Through the faculty of creative imagination, the finite mind of man has direct communication with infinite intelligence. We can directly communicate with God through the power of our imagination. It is the faculty through which hunches and inspirations are received. It is by this faculty that all basic or new ideas are handed over to man. It is through this faculty that one individual may tune in or communicate with the subconscious minds of other individuals. All through our imagination. He goes on to say that creative imagination works automatically when the conscious mind is stimulated through the emotion of strong desire. So we have a strong desire for something that gives fuel to that. And this power just grows stronger with use, just like our muscles grow stronger with use. By using our imagination, we can turn what seems impossible into the possible. There's a saying that only those who see the invisible can do the impossible. So imagination allows us to see the invisible. And my most favorite quote ever, I think, that has to do with imagination is from Alice in Wonderland. Alice was speaking to the Queen, and I can't hear this too many times, I just love it. And the Queen was speaking to Alice, and Alice says, I can't believe that. Can't you, said the Queen in a pitying tone. Try again. Draw a long breath and shut your eyes. Alice laughed. There's no use trying, she said. One can't believe impossible things. I dare say you haven't had much practice, said the Queen. Why, when I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. I love that. I love it, I love it, I love it. Yes, our imagination allows us to soar beyond appearances and conditions and circumstances to create something wonderful. Albert Einstein says logic will get you from A to Z. Imagination will get you everywhere. It's like a good travel agent. It can and it will get you anywhere and everywhere. Albert Einstein also said, the true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagination is everything. It's the preview of life's coming attractions. And how about this one by Oscar Wilde? Anyone who lives within their means suffers from a lack of imagination. And I'm thinking they also use they have an imagination, but where they're putting their imagination is on lack and limitation, probably. And so far I've been talking about the positive use of affirmation, positive meaning it gets us what we want, gets us towards what we want, creates what we want. And we can also use imagination in negative ways. What are some of the forms of using imagination in negative ways? Fear. Mm-hmm.
Lack.
Yeah.
Picture some outcome for something you are not aware of what's going to happen. And you're picturing the worst case scenario.
Right, the worst case scenarios. The negative what ifs, right? Worry, doubt. Those are all the negative use of imagination. We're pretty good at those, aren't we? Yeah. So all we have to do is just, okay, we're pointing our imagination at what we don't want. All we have to do simply is just point it at what we do want, right? Yeah. And imagining what you don't want not only makes you feel bad, right? Lowers your vibration, which does things to you, right? Makes you tired, makes you sick, makes you all those kinds of things. But it also, if you dwell on it long enough, can bring those things into being. Yeah. So I'm not going to dwell on the negative use of imagination, except to say that as soon as you realize that you're using your imagination in that way, choose differently. Choose a new image, choose a new thought. It takes practice, but practice, it makes it easier, right? The more we practice, the easier it gets. And a fun way to practice is to play games. I love to play games. Let the imaginative kid in you come out and play. I talked about the negative what if games or the worst case scenarios. Play the positive what if game. Does anybody have a scenario in their life that's not too bad, but it's kind of negative, you want to change it, that you're willing to share just briefly?
Lack of staff on my team.
Lack of staff. Oh, wow. What if you went to work tomorrow and your boss called you in and said, good news for you, and said there was going to be some more staff? What's a positive if for Linda? Lack of staff. Play with it. Let your kid come out and play.
Too many staff.
Too many.
What if you put that out to the universe and some volunteers showed up that needed some experience? They don't want to get paid, they just want to come in and help out and get some. What if that happened, right?
Interns.
Yeah, interns. What if interns need college credit and they want to come in and help? See how it can be fun to play those positive what ifs. So when you go home today, take one of your situations and play the positive what if game. And it's good to write them out too. Ellery.
I have this weird thought that somehow the world is not going to be progressed because of the youth of today. Like they're going in the wrong direction.
It's not going to be at risk because of what?
Like the world is not going to progress in the right direction because the youth are going in the wrong direction. which it's like, I know it's a fear-based thing, but it just seems so real because I like you hear a lot of people, that a lot of young people shoot people, and it just feels like if I, as I get older, like the world is gonna be not a better place, but a worse place. You know, I think that fear is like, and that's my imagination. Is that
Yeah,
really
good use of imagination. Wow, powerful. Yeah.
Socrates said that the world was going to hell in a handbasket because of the use 2,000 years ago. So this is not a new thought, though. Yeah.
Because of their rebellion in the 60s, you know, and
Oh, yeah.
the hippie movement.
Yeah, my parents were convinced.
So what if all these things are falling apart? So better new things can replace them. What if all these things that are falling apart weren't working anyway, and it's really kind of good to get rid of them? And this was the fastest way to do it, even though it may not be the best feeling way. What if, you know, so we can play with those what ifs. Another game is, wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be nice if things in this world, when we woke up tomorrow, wouldn't it be nice if we had a new news station, media station that only reported good news? And they showed it over and over again. Much like negative news is shown over and over and over again now. But it's the kind of things that you, like the Alice in Wonderland thing, I can never hear that too many times. It's the kind of good news you can't watch too many times. You just keep feeling better every time you watch it. What if that happened?
The dog
Wouldn't that
channel
be
is
nice?
good.
What?
The dog channel is good.
Yes. Wouldn't it be nice?
I love it.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were more like dogs,
Where's our
unconditionally
dog?
loving? Wouldn't that be nice?
It doesn't come on first.
Well, you can play the I Wonder game. I Wonder. This opens you up to that open imagery that I was talking about, that kind of turns it over to God or the universe. And all you have to do is put out your I Wonder statements. You can say things like, I wonder how much fun I can have today. I wonder how much good news can be on the media today. I wonder what ways prosperity can come to me today. I wonder, give me an I wonder.
How much positivity you can share just interacting with people.
Yeah, I wonder how much positivity I can share interacting with people today. And you don't have to think about these anymore. All you have to do is put that statement out there. You don't do anything except be open to receive. Be open to notice what's happening around you. Be open to say yes to whatever comes without judgment, without expectation that it needs to look a certain way or come a certain way. Just be open.
Just smile at strangers.
Yeah, I wonder how much I can smile at strangers today. I wonder how much joy I could bring into the world. Yeah.
Well, how many people I can make smile?
There you go.
Yes. And you can play these games with other people. I have a friend that when we go on a walk, we play some of these games, you know. And you can play them when you're driving on a trip. You can play them when you're stuck in traffic or in your head when you're waiting in a long line at the bank or at the grocery store or something. There's all, in the shower you can play these games. All kinds of places to play these games. And you might also want to check out the Vision Alignment Project. Tony Burrows of Intenders of the Highest Good has online a Vision Alignment Project where people send in their visions for specific topics, you know, for a better world, for honest government, for happy families, whatever, clean water. And then they're posted up there and they have a little button that you can click on, say, yes, I align with this vision. And the more people that align with it, the faster something like that is going to come into being. So you can send in your vision. And what if you use the creative power of your imagination every day to explore more of what is possible for you in your life, to create that beautiful, colorful, feel-good life? And I'm going to close with a quote from a man with an amazing imagination, who definitely let his inner kid come out and play, and that's Theodore Geisel, better known as Dr. Seuss. He says, think. You can think any think that you wish. Think left and think right, think low and think high. Oh, the thinks that you can think if only you try.